Hello, everyone, and thank you for listening to this podcast. We are the Youth Violence Prevention Center here in Kansas City. We are one of 5 Youth Violence Prevention Centers, or YVPCs, here in the United States of America. Our YVPC actually supports ThrYve and these wonderful students that you see here with us in the green shirts. The mission of ThrYve is to empower the youth to be hopeful and thrive by connecting youth and families to opportunities that foster resilience and success through coordinated systems and engaged community supports. So this week is Youth Violence Prevention Week, and this is the second annual podcast that we are hosting from our ThrYve students, and the purpose is to raise awareness on ways to mitigate youth violence in our communities here in Wyandotte County, Kansas. So essentially, I want to just give you all a rundown of the things that we'll be doing here in Wyandotte County to support our youth. Next, so this upcoming May, we will have a billboard off of 15th and State, which one of our ThrYve Youth, they actually made, and that billboard will be off of 15th and State, and you'll be able to view it in May. But with that being said, I do want to introduce to the right of me, Chief Oakman here in Wyandotte County. And then also, too, we have Shelby Woodward from the Health Department here in Wyandotte County. And I want to give the students an opportunity to introduce themselves as well. So I'll just go ahead and pass the mic. I just introduced you, but pass the mic. Let's start with the students, and then just say your name and your school, and that'd be great.
Hello, my name is Giovanna Carter, or Gia Carter. I am an 8th grader that attends Sumner Academy.
Hello, my name is Nadia Jehozo, and I'm from Harmon High School. I'm in 9th grade.
My name is Joseph Alanese. I attend Sumner Academy, and I'm in 9th grade.
My name is Cortez Hollenshed. I go to Sumner Academy. I'm a freshman.
Hello, my name is Piper Cycle, and I go to Rosedale Middle School as an 8th grader.
Thank you. And with that being said, I just kind of want to set the tone of this conversation. We will have 3 segments just talking about community. My apologies. We're going to be talking about, community, factors and solutions in 3 segments with the focus of youth violence. But just to start it off and to set the tone, I do want to say one fact that is pretty conclusive to everything that we are doing here. Gun violence or the gun homicide rate in the USA is 26 times higher than other developed countries. Research and data shares that public safety laws can reduce gun violence and save lives. And this is something that I think we all have, that we are all fighting to reduce here in Wyandotte County. And with that said, I think with community and starting with this segment, I'm going to go ahead and just hop right into it and ask this question. And I think Joey can start us off with this question as well, if you would like to start once we do that. But the question is, do you feel safe in your community? And what factors make you feel safe or unsafe?
Well, I feel that in the community right now, there are certain things that do make you feel unsafe, such as, you notice in bad areas, people are on certain drugs, and they scare some kids. And especially with Sumner being in this area, it is a bit of a bad area, for lack of a better word, but you want to make that better. And that is the whole point that we're here to do, is make that better. And another thing is just the youth violence, because youth are very, very violent these days. And it has actually gone down with ThrYve being around and helping out, but it is still a prevalent issue that I feel needs to be addressed.
Thank you. Would you all, anybody want to tag on or add on to that?
And
I'm just gonna pause. Kamisha can clean this up. What had happened? You can clean this. She'll cut me out. Yes. You're not in here. I know. So Kamisha will cut me out. But Joey wanted to just start with the.
oh yes.
To share.
And there's a particular experience that I've had with gun violence that kind of shaped my view on it. My mother's goddaughter, she had recently had a baby. He was around 2 years old when this happened. And so one day the father of the baby gets home with the baby. He brings him home from school. And the mother is not home. She is at work. And he was doing something with his gun, his firearm, and he ended up leaving it on the table. And the baby, who was around 2 at the time, he had walked over to the table. He had picked up the gun, and obviously being a child, he didn't really know what it was, and he shot himself, and he died. The mother got home, and she saw what had happened, and she personally said to me that she had almost wanted to. She picked up the gun and she almost pulled the trigger. And she said the only reason that she didn't pull the trigger was because her other daughter was there and said, "Mom, don't go." And she said that is the only reason that she is still here today. And I feel that woke me up when it comes to gun violence and really the action that needs to take place to fix these things. I mean, it's something that no one should have to go through. It's a terrible thing. And I think that is prevalent to the issue right now of feeling safe in the community and the environment that the community provides.
Thank you, Joey, for sharing that. And we wish you and your family all the well wishes. Anybody else would like to share about how you feel safe in the community? Piper?
Honestly, I think that personally where I live, like in Wyandotte, it's really not that safe. It isn't. Like, we had so many incidents at Carbruce where people threatened to shoot up our school and try to like get people personally. Me personally, I was like a really like bad ghetto person in that school, and I was the one who started those fights and what led us to get those threats. But now that I see myself, I changed, and I really don't think it's that necessary to threaten people at our school, and it's really not that safe, because in my position, I would have, if I kept doing the things I did back then. That's what I think.
Thank you for sharing that. Also, too, feel comfortable, anybody, to interject or add to the conversation as you want to. But I want to ask you all, just maybe Nadia or Gia, what factors do you think can help you feel safe or unsafe in this community? And also, too, Shelby or Chief Oakman, if you wanted to add to that as well, feel comfortable to do so. I can give you all the mic.
Oh, sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, what factors make you feel safe or unsafe in the community?
So I feel like there's a lot of communities and programs for stuff like helping us to feel safe, like police academies and, ThrYve, what we're all here for. The programs like that can really make or break communities. But then there's also other aspects, there's people's home lives and the stuff that happens at school, failure to interject in or, have some sort of discipline or authority for bad things that go on in schools, because that's just how the children act. So there's the pros and cons to any community when it comes to violence and how you shape it and the youth there. But I do think that there is always an outlet. There's always a way to find help in any community.
I agree.
Sorry to hear about your situation. What's interesting about what he talked about, I was, and some of you are young, so you're not going to understand this show I'm going to tell you about, but just last night, I watched an old show of Alfred Hitchcock. It's like, some of you may know about it or not, but so in this particular episode, keep in mind, this was filmed in 1956. This particular episode, a little boy was out playing with some other little boys and they were shooting guns, you know, and that's what we used to do when we were little. But anyway, his uncle came to town and had a suitcase, and the parents was like, show your uncle up to his room. So the uncle started unpacking, and then the boy's daddy came and said, hey, let's go downstairs. We got to talk about something. The uncle's like, well, finish unpacking my stuff and I'll give you a surprise. Well, as the boy was unpacking, he found an actual gun in the suitcase with real bullets. He started loading the gun and went outside and went out to the supermarket. He put one in and he was going around bang, bang. And, you know, it was a revolver, so it didn't quite register. But finally they realized that the little boy took his fake gun and replaced it in his uncle's suitcase and took the real one. And so they were able to intervene just in time. Yes, he came back and he was playing with the maid, and the maid was like, I don't have time to play. Just shoot me. And he shot and hit the mirror. And they were like, oh, my goodness, this is a live gun. So I tell that story just to tell you that, as they say, nothing's new under the sun. So it's very important. And one of the things that I think a lot of times with guns, so I'm going to ask, how many of you have been in a gun safety class? One person. Look around the room. One person. Well, two people. That's part of the problem, because we grow up, if you're not exposed to those gun safety classes, we grow up thinking a gun is used to settle arguments, get even with someone, out on the streets for protection, not the purpose of what guns are. You know, guns are used for hunting, military, sport, and home protection. That's it. There's no other reason for one. But when you don't go through those classes and understand what a gun is for, then you think it's to settle arguments or to make you the big and bad person in the room because I have a gun. So those are some things I think when you talk about things we can do is I think we've got this mindset that, you know, if you expose someone young to the safety, the purpose of a gun, you know, it's a bad thing because it's got polarized on both sides of the political aisle. And in the meantime, we're continuing to have these same issues because a law is not going to stop you from going out shooting someone. We got them now, and we still have homicides every day. It's going to take education, accountability, and really exposure to what you really need to be exposed to.
Thank you. Thank you. Would you like to?
Sure, I can say a little bit. So, again, thank you for sharing that, and I hope all the best for your family. And I think that we hit on a couple of really interesting things about like the community feeling safe or not. In your middle school, maybe not being the most supportive, but then realizing like, oh, I'm a part of this and I can make change. And I think that that's growth, Piper, and congratulations for that. That's amazing. But when we think about like the connection between the community and youth violence, communities that are not invested in, communities that have high unemployment rates, unstable housing, residents don't contribute to the community or participate, and there's disconnected neighborhoods. There is such a strong connection between those things and youth violence. And on the other side, when we see communities that are invested in, we see that the local governments are invested in even just like the built environment. I know a lot of you have gone through like the SEPTED walkthroughs and learned about how the built environment can impact behavior. When communities are invested in sidewalks, and they're invested in like well-maintained parks, that creates ownership of that area and pride in that area. And we want to make sure that our communities are protected and safe and that everyone can use them. When there are involved residents, when people show up to meetings like the commission meetings and they have their voices heard, things like that, then it creates a community where we look out for each other and we care about each other. So there's a lot of power in this room. There's a lot of things that can be done if, we just look at ourselves and kind of make those changes.
Thank you for sharing that. Nadia, I remember you had something to say. Let me add this question and see if you would like to add what you were going to originally say and then maybe answer this question too. What role does the community environment play in youth violence prevention? And yeah, I'm interested to see what you have to say about that. Yeah. Of course. So what role does the community environment play in youth violence prevention?
Personally, I would talk about it personally because I really don't know about you guys that much. But personally, about me, where I live, there's like a little park, but it's not big enough. It's like only a few kids play there. And unfortunately, one day when my brother went to play there, he got bullied and he wasn't the only one. There's this sort of, I don't know how I can say it, but it's almost kind of like favoritism. I don't know how to pronounce that word. But they favor different kinds of people. For example, my brother, when they found out he was African, when he went to play, it was somewhere between 5 p.m. I think they were playing around. I don't know what they were doing exactly, but it was my brother and also one of my friend's kids, my friend's little sibling. I don't know much of it, but when he went to play there, he used to go play there a lot, but it's really small though, so not many kids gather there to play and talk and feel that sort of like connection. And most of them stay inside the house. So when he did go to play there, he got unfortunately bullied. They did record it and post it online. We informed the police, but nothing was really done. It was just more like take notes and walk out the door. And for me personally, that kind of shaped the way I saw my environment. It's almost like I always have to watch behind my back, like I don't feel safe here. What if I get bullied or something like that? I just feel like many kids just run out talking about youth. Many youth, I feel like many of them don't like going outside and socializing because they have this mindset. I won't say that mindset is wrong. It's actually kind of right for their own safety. They have this mindset of what if I go and something happens, because a lot of the times when a lot of youth go outside to play or something to go and play outside, something always happens, mostly negative stuff. That's all I can say. But.
Thank you for sharing that. Gene, you want to add? And also, too, before you add, while you move the mic, thank y'all for sharing what you are sharing. I think it's important for us to feel comfortable to do these things and talk amongst ourselves. So everything that we're saying, we're a community and we're hoping to really help each other grow. So feel comfortable to share the things that you all are saying. And it doesn't matter how you say it, as long as you feel comfortable to just express it. I think that's really what matters most, because we have community partners here, and we're here to help you all. But also, too, the goal of this conversation is to really help the community. So I think we're right here right now, but when people get to watch this, they'll have the opportunity to hear you all's voices, which are incredibly important to our community. So thank you for sharing. Go ahead.
And this is more so to riff off of what Miss Woodward and Nadia were saying, but when community, like environments, when I think of community, I think of like a neighborhood or a school. That can really make or break how someone grows up. For example, in my neighborhood, everyone knows everyone. We know people by their houses, their dogs, their names. But in neighborhoods where people feel disconnected, they feel unsafe. They feel like, they need to go check their mail with some sort of protection on them. They need a gun to walk down the street. They get scared when someone opens the door, locks their car, unlocks their car, pulls into the driveway. And something like that, like anxiety like that, it's what causes a lot of these things, because my grandpa, he worked in the Kansas City Police Department. In fact, I think he still does. And he comes back with stories about juveniles and stuff like this. And it's their community. Like, they're with gangs and their families and stuff like that. They're all encouraging this behavior. So even being in a connected community, a community full of violence is no better than a disconnected community, because the encouragement is almost as bad, if not as bad or even worse, than not having that connection at all.
To what Nadia said, and what's his name? And
you just call me Shelby.
Oh, yeah, Joey. Like his story and hers, they were similar, but I also have something that is about gun violence, and it's very interesting. But like, I think it was last year, somewhere between June and May, it was this boy. He was part of our church community. Me personally, we're Liberian, and he was with his, I think he was getting his brother from a different house, and because he was playing, his mom told him to go get the boy. So he went by himself because they were all friends and they knew each other. So he went to the wrong house. He knocked the door or rang the doorbell, and they opened the door and they shot him. It was a white dude, personally. He shot him. I don't know what he did, but he just knocked the door. I think he asked for his brother, and they shot him. And they took him to the hospital, but he survived, and thank God for that. But the dude who shot the boy, he didn't get no time. They took him out a day later, and thank God he is safe, and he is fully recovered now.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm glad that he's recovered. And again, you all, thank y'all for sharing. For this segment, I'm going to let Cortez say some last words on this segment, and then I think that would be good. And if you all have a question, I think that would be appropriate to ask maybe Police Chief Oakman or Shelby. That would be incredible for you all to maybe ask a question.
The community environment plays a crucial role in youth violence prevention by shaping norms and opportunities and access to resources. Positive community environments foster social cohesion. Positive community provide safe spaces and offer constructive activities which reduce the likelihood of youth involvement in violence. Conservatively, communities with high levels of poverty, crime, and social disorganization can increase the risk of youth violence.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to ask if y'all have a question for anybody else not anybody, for Shelby or Police Chief Oakman. And I would just, if you have a question, that would be nice. Yes. Let's start with you and then Cortez.
Okay, so this question is for Shelby, but so when there's people, specifically youth in the hospital or somewhere like that, for for a violent, something happened to them, they got shot, stabbed, or beat up, or something happened to them, is there ever do you notice a difference in who shows up for them? Do more people show up, less people? Are they more shut off, or wary, scared to answer questions, anxious, stuff like that?
Yeah. So, are you all familiar with the ThrYve program? I know that ThrYve participates in it a little bit. Okay, so some people are, some people aren't. ThrYve is what we call a hospital-based violence intervention program. So when a youth from the ages, I believe, Jamela, correct me if I'm wrong, 14 to 24, 12 to 24? Okay. Comes into KU specifically, but there are other intervention programs across the metro. But when they come into KU specifically, they are kind of greeted by a hospital chaplain, and that chaplain will kind of determine if they would qualify for ThrYve services. And if they do, they call in Ad Hoc Group Against Crime, which is an awesome nonprofit in the metro area and does a lot of work across the metro. And then when Ad Hoc comes in, they're kind of surrounded with services. These can be therapy services, help with relocation, things like that. And so we just had our monthly or our quarterly meeting this morning for that program. And Ad Hoc and the chaplains would know better than I would. But from the conversations that we've had, these kinds of services allow for more family members to, surround their loved one. They don't have to worry necessarily about transportation all the time. They don't have to worry about food in the hospital because Ad Hoc and some of those supports can help with that. And so they're able to be there for their loved one. I'm not entirely sure about numbers for that. I think Chief Oakman, you and your teams, they're in the hospitals with them. But I just wanted to highlight that program that I know ThrYve works with, and kind of say that those kinds of programs that provide wraparound services to people who are victims of violent crime, not only help the survivor of the crime and their family, but also help prevent retaliatory violence. So if that person who is a victim of violent crime has supports and is surrounded by services, it's less likely that they would then retaliate because of what was done to them. So I'll kind of pass it to Chief Oakman.
Yeah, and on your question, so it's a little more complicated. So kind of what Shelby was talking about, the family members, the mother, oftentimes mother, parents, father, brother, sister, are always more willing to take the services. The issue that we found, and Ad Hoc has this issue too, is the actual person who got shot is most of the time, even with ThrYve, do not want to cooperate. So when they don't cooperate, that affects our ability to intervene in retaliation. So why it's important, and what we do, we work with Ad Hoc because it's also important, unfortunately, to have that police element to it. So there'll be some reason to cooperate, and that's usually the most difficult thing. You'd be surprised how many times we have shootings and the person does not want to cooperate and tell us who shot them. And there's a couple reasons for that. A lot of times when it's gang related, we find that, but we have other means of making them cooperate, because oftentimes there may be a criminal charge there And we don't just use that to put them in jail, but we use it for them to cooperate so we can get to the person who shot them to kind of end that cycle of violence. So that's that risk for retaliation that we do that evaluation on all of our cases. And the hospital element's fine, but you have to connect that with actually in the neighborhood. So it does no good to do the retaliation effort in the hospital, but not in the neighborhood where it occurred. So we do the full risk for retaliation, including hospital, then going back to the neighborhood, as well as getting parents involved, siblings, other relatives, because they're all usually involved. So to answer your question, sometimes depending on the situation, a lot of people show up to the hospital, and oftentimes more disturbances break out in the hospital depending on the nature of the incident.
Thank you. Cortez, we're going to have you ask that on the next segment. And we're going to go ahead and transition to the next segment now. So thank you so much for our participants in the first segment. And we'll go ahead and transition now. Hello, welcome back. We are ready for segment 2, and this will be talking about factors that have to pertain to youth violence prevention in the community. So before we get started, let's just go. We got a new group of students from ThrYve, and let's just start with Evelyn and share your name and really quickly for everybody, and that would be great.
Hi, my name is Evelyn. I'm at Wyandotte and I'm 10th grade.
Hello, my name is Alexa, and I'm at Wyandotte, and I'm an 11th grade.
My name is Janae Harris. I go to Wyandotte Middle School, and I'm in 8th grade.
My name is Kalia Jones, and I go to Wyandotte Middle School, and I'm in 8th grade.
Hello, my name is Joshua Magical, and I am a sophomore at Sumner Academy.
My name is Cortez Hollinshed. I go to Sumner Academy. I am a freshman.
My name is Piper Sycor, and I go to Wyandotte Middle School, and I'm an 8th grader.
All right, you guys. Thank y'all so much. I'm excited to be here. Let's go ahead and hop right into it. So when it comes to social media and violence, we're all on social media. We see stuff. How does social media influence youth violence? Go ahead, Alexa.
I would say for my school particularly, because I go to Wyandotte High School. So at my school particularly, is more like you will see more fights and stuff on social media, and that plays a big role at our school, because when like people want to like donate money or stuff like that to us, or we ask for them to donate money, they won't go to our school because they see these videos of us that project the bad of us, which is something that I feel like we should stop doing, but like it's something normal in our community.
Social media, it influences the violence to more violent like exposures, but it's not just like cyberbullying as like some would say. It's also the violent content that we see on social media. It's not just like images, it's the videos and the content and the messages that we see. The messages that we see or the content that we see, it could desensitize them to also become more aggressive in their behavior and encourage more violence to each other.
Thank you. All right, Cortez.
all I see is a lot of people posting it with them. They have guns with them, and how they try to make it cool to be a gang member, even though it's not, and it's hurting people. And how they post fights and talk about people on their social media is just wrong.
Yeah. Parker, would you like to add?
Social media, it's the biggest part of Wyandotte High School and around Carvey Roofs and other schools, mostly because that's how the drama starts. People spread rumors from text messages, postings, and that's how fights happens, and then school shootings, and all the content that we watch from all this can influence us. Oh, I want to be like that person, and it gets around, and they want to do stuff that hurts students.
Yeah, you all said some perfect things. Anybody want to add to that?
Yeah. Speaking for what Piper said, for our school, like there's like a bunch of stuff like on Instagram of pages, and yeah, for like drama pages, fight pages, and like all that like random stuff, and it's okay. It's not like good for our community, but they're still up, and I don't know if like people go talk to like our administration, like our principal, like our principal, or like our vice principal, stuff like that, and like talk about it, but like I don't know.
Here, let me ask this question. Keep your thoughts. Feel free to talk about it. This is for everyone. Because you guys are saying some important things, and just thinking about how social media is something, once it's on the internet, we know that it's on there forever. I mean, you could probably delete something, but somebody could repost it in 2-3 years later. So it's on there forever. In terms of mental health, right? How does the fear of gun violence impact mental health, but also too, not just gun violence? Let's go ahead and add social media too as well, because in a way that could be, we're talking about things that are violent, that can harm people over time, and their mental health as well. So let's add gun violence and social media to that, to speak to that. Go ahead, Cortez.
I have a question to what Janae was saying. Do you participate in those pages?
Cortez, we're only talking about ourselves.
I think I'll do this right now.
Okay, thank you though for that transparent inquiry. We'll let everybody reflect on our behaviors. All right, Evelyn, Cortez.
For an example, an incident involving gun violence, and like it's a situation you never went through, and it can impact your mental health.
Yeah, that's very true.
Anybody would like to add? Go ahead, Josh.
I would like to add, I personally have not gone through any gun violence issues, but I do know stories, and I know how social media can help make it a bigger problem than it is. What Cortez said before, he said that students, and usually they post their guns or they shoot towards the ground, and they play some weird music along with it that kind of represents their gang or whatever set their part. I went to Argentine Middle School, and I had an experience there where that there was what's it called? Like a shooting nearby, there a drive-by, and so we had to stay after school for at least two hours after dismissal, and that kind of scared me, and also scared a lot of the teachers. You can see how worried they were, and you can tell how they were on it. As soon as they heard about it, they're on it. They're protecting you. The police officers came by. You can tell that the people care, but it's only until it happens that they start taking a step towards it. And I feel like that's what's the problem with the community. We need to be more connected and share our opinions, our thoughts, just like ThrYve. And also, another program is POW, the Police Athletic League. It helps you connect with the police officers. It also helps you connect with people that are part of the community or part of the Missouri community. They come together to learn how to box, paint. They have all these sorts of programs, and you get together. If you get connected with the police department in the Police Athletic League, it kind of helps you become more aware and know what's going on because you're actually a part of that. You're actually involved, and I feel like that can help prevent or intervene and hopefully deplete all of gun violences.
Go ahead, and then Cortez, and then come back.
Okay. Yeah.
To back off what Joshua said, youth violence, it increases anxiety and depression because you'll never know what's going to go on. You know what happened, what's going to happen. And I think it was 5th grade, I was in summer school. Somebody at Hazel Grove, somebody drove by, shot a kid and his son. They died, and nobody knew what happened. We were taking lunch. It was right out the window, and nobody did nothing. We had to go on lockdown until school was over. And
yeah, there are a lot of experiences in Wyandotte County. I think a lot of you, I mean, you've shared your own personal experiences or personal experiences that you, or experiences that you know about through your school or friends or family. And this kind of like fear of violence, actually experiencing violence, or even just being around stories of violence, those kinds of things can, especially since you all are so young, since, you know, youth, our brains aren't fully developed until we're in our 20s, these kinds of things can literally change your brain chemistry, and they can change the way that you process information, the way that you make decisions. They can change the way that you form memories. And these kinds of things, like, there are obviously treatments for PTSD, you know, mental health services have gone a long way. But the best way to prevent these kinds of changes to our brains and to the way that we view the world is prevention. And again, all of these stories that you all are sharing, like, it's heartbreaking. And I just want to remind all of you that, like, you all deserve to feel safe, and you all deserve to feel protected by your community and by the adults in your lives. So there's just my little 2 cents about mental health.
Yeah, go ahead, Cortez.
And with the news really highlighting the negative things that go around in the world, and there's really not anything positive, it affects the well-being of the youth and how they think overall.
Yeah, I mean, hearing all the negative things or just witnessing heartbreaking things in our communities, that really does affect our mental health. Let me ask you all this, and you all can answer too. What role can families play in preventing youth violence? Piper?
What roles? They can obviously take their phone or restrict apps or put screen times on their devices. But for some, they know how to get past the screen times and all that other stuff. And they probably don't listen, so yeah, which could lead to taking their phone away. So parents can obviously do that, but they don't want to do it for how their children act if they try to.
Okay, that's interesting. Alex?
In my experience, because I'm not gonna say I'm a perfect kid or anything, but like I used to be really like bad and stuff. Like, and in my experience, my mom is my only parent, so my mom tried to more like stop working a lot because she used to work a lot. So she stopped working a lot and started spending more time with me. I feel like that helped me a lot because I felt like my mom was in my life more and she supported me in everything I do. And now she's a big role in my life.
That's awesome, Alexa. I was going to very quickly just say, kind of speaking to parents too, so less to youth. Parental involvement, consistency, showing up for your youth, being involved in their schooling and their education, those are some of the most protective factors when it comes to preventing youth experiencing violence. So thank you so much for highlighting that, Alexa, because it's so important that our parents are involved. And then I also just wanted to share a very quick thing that's like a little tangible that parents and families or anyone who has youth in their homes can do. KCKPD has a gun lock program. Grandparents for Gun Safety has a gun lock program. Safe storage of your firearms. If you own them, you need to be safe with them. Similar to what Chief Oakman was talking about earlier with gun safety education, safe storage is part of that. So programs like KCKPD's gun lock program and Grandparents for Gun Safety, those are things that are like vital. If you're going to own guns, they need to be safe and secure. So there you go.
Thank you. Police Chief, would you like to add?
Yeah. That was great, Alexis, because that is one of the things we preach from the police department is parental involvement. It is so important. When you talked about the parents not wanting to take the phones, the problem there is that's got to start when they're 3, not when they're 12. And that's where the problem is. It needs to start from the beginning. And another point when you talk about social media and then the media in general, not only does it affect your mental health with violence, but not even communities, members, it's so ingrained. Like most people, it's so ingrained in Wyandotte County that they think, and I've kind of heard it in here, think it's a violent place. But the last 3 years, when you look at our numbers compared to some of your other cities you wouldn't even expect in the state of Kansas, Wyandotte County is no longer known for violence. But we think because we got this ingrained in our heads that this is a violent place, it's when you look at the numbers and the data, currently that's not what it's suggesting. So part of that is the whole social media. And to your point, when you said the news media will highlight, a shooting, over the last 4 years, we're down 62% in homicides. There's no other city in the metro or the state that has had that big of a drop. And a lot of it is programs like this, ThrYve, the Police Athletic League, a lot of things that we're really doing to really look at that violent part, even when you talk about domestic violence, which is something that affects young people because that issues in their home with their parents. And that's something we really put a lot of resources in because we knew the outcome is that you can still, statistics say that if you grow up in a domestic violence home, you're more apt to become violent yourself. So we knew that. So we're seeing some positive reductions in that area too. So really research your community for yourself. Don't always listen to the experts. Do your own research and find out what's going on in your neighborhood.
Thank you. We're almost done with this segment, and I'm going to let you all say your last points. But I saw you, Kalia, and I don't know if you wanted to still say something. But essentially, just to recap some of the talking points that we were talking about today, we are in this segment. We talked about the influence of family. We talked a little bit about mental health and trauma, and then also to social media and violence. So if you all want to add to any of that, and let's just limit it to Kalia, Cortez, and Joshua for this one. And then if y'all would like to add something, feel comfortable to do so. And we'll start with Kalia if you would like to.
Bringing back the question where it was, what role can families play? I would say, like we said, like having your parents like present more. I would say not just having them present, but your communication with them. Like as a kid that is in a one-parent household, the community, and it's being like multiple of us, the communication in the house is not well, but I would say communication is important because as a parent, even if you do have some moments where you talk to your child, at the same time, you don't know half of the things that they're going through if you're not having deep enough conversations with them. So, and that's what I have to say.
Okay. I'm gonna also add Evelyn too, if you wanted to add something as well. So I know you two will add. Let's let Evelyn add, and then we'll come back to you. And thank you.
So for family influence, I have setting clear boundaries. Cause if you don't put a limit to your kids, they're gonna step overboard and think that you're not gonna put a limit, and they're gonna do whatever they want. And since you're not correcting them, they're gonna think it's okay and doing it over and over and doing even worse stuff.
I totally agree 100%. Y'all saying some really, really good things. Things that I hope that people who are listening are actually listening. Because these are things that we can take and apply in our lives and really make our community better. And this is coming from the youth in the community. So we're going to end this segment with Josh and Cortez. And yeah.
Okay. Take us away. So kind of to piggyback off what Kalia has said about parental involvement and also the communication. Something personal for me. I live in I switch between two households with my mom and my dad, and the communication between them is through me, and so it's kind of difficult to kind of hear what they want to say, and it kind of gets if you tell some rumors, it starts with the truth until people start changing the words up. So that's how it goes through me, one ear, and then it switches up a little bit because I'm confused. And I feel like that starts at an early age. I was kind of very rebellious at a young age. I would get in trouble at school. Fun fact, I would get snacks because I was the bad kid. Yeah, but that's something that's important because if your parents are involved in your life at an early age, you have this connection and you don't have the need to have to rebel to get this attention from them. Because usually you see that that the youth that are becoming violent and more rebellious in schools and in the community, going around their neighborhood with the group, spray painting walls. It's usually because it starts at a young age. They don't have an outlet or anybody to connect with emotionally, and that's something personal. For example, in Argentina, I was peer pressured into trying to smoke, and it's not something that I'm happy of, but I'm actually glad that I made the decision. I would take it back, but the past can be changed. But it also helped me become a better person now. And I feel like you need to make the mistakes in order to grow. And also that comes from parental intervention. And that's what my parents did. They confronted me, told me what I was doing, and told me what would happen if I continue going through this path. And it really helped me see, not just for me, but for people around me, how to help others not to want to keep on trying to go down that path. Or I'm not saying I'm the most perfect kid either. I make mistakes. I still fight with my parents. I think it's only natural. But I feel like having those arguments with your parents are a good thing because it kind of helps you communicate, and it also brings to light what things you should work on. And I feel like that should be something you should do in every household, or at least try to. And if your parents are not making not taking the step in order to do that or achieve that, I feel like you as as a child, you should try to talk to them, or else you'll grow up with daddy issues, mother issues, whatever. And I feel like that's all I want to say.
to go off of what Joshua and Kalia said. Communication and being there is a necessity, but also being a good example for your child and showing them what to do. Because if you continuously say, don't be better than me, you have to show me better. I don't know what better is because I haven't seen better.
That's 100% real. And I think parents, for those that are listening, the youth are saying some important things, and Police Chief and Shelby also too. That everybody says some incredible things of how we can be better in our homes, and because that will translate into the community as the students go to school and as they are around their peers. So it's really, really important that we're taking care of what's happening at home and giving attention. Because I'm hearing attention, I'm hearing taking and being attentive, and all of these things that are really impactful because it affects everything in the child's life. So thank you all for your voice in this segment, and we will transition to the next one. So thank you. Okay. Hello, everyone, and thank you for staying with us. This is our third segment, and we're going to talk about solutions. Really quickly, we do have new students on here and some returning students from the previous segments. But just to recap, we're going to start with Piper, and we're just going to go and introduce ourselves. So, yeah. They're trying to figure out who
My name is Piper Syke. Again, I go to ThrYve Youth Middle School, and I'm an 8th grader.
My name is Joey. I attend Sumner, and I'm in 9th grade.
My name is Gia. I also attend Sumner Academy, and I am in 8th grade.
Hello, my name is Joshua Madrigal, and I'm a sophomore at Sumner Academy.
My name's Terrence. I go to Harmon, and I'm a 9th grader.
Okay, perfect. If y'all want to say y'all names too.
Sure. I'm Shelby Woodward. I'm the Violence Prevention Coordinator at the Wyandotte County Public Health Department.
And I'm Carl Oakman, Police Chief, Kansas City, Kansas Police Department.
I'm Janae Harris, and I go to ThrYve Middle School, and I'm an 8th grader.
I am Nadia, and I'm from Harmon High School, and I'm a 9th grader.
I'm Clea Jones. I go to ThrYve Middle School, and I'm an 8th grader.
Hi, I'm Michaela Perez. I'm in 9th grade at Sumner Academy.
Hello, my name is Alexa Soriano. I'm a 11th grader at Wyandotte High School.
Hi, my name is Evelyn Sanchez, and I'm a 10th grader at Wyandotte.
Okay, thank you. We have youth all the way from 8th grade to 12th grade ready to talk about how we can create some good solutions to prevent youth violence here. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. Terrence, how do you think that we can actively participate in reducing gun violence?
By getting safes and locks to put your firearms in, and having kids start off young, teach them about guns and how to not use them, and yeah.
I love that. Thank you. Anybody else would like to add to that? Yeah, so just to recap, how can youth actively participate in reducing gun violence? Go ahead, Josh.
You could help spread awareness and of the dangers and help them convince them on why they should not participate in gun violence or any violence R&R, they can use social media, and I feel like social media and any media source platforms could be a good way to go about that. You can have your own, like Sumner has their own page. On their page, they might be like, we had this news story of this something that happened in the community, and they're trying to spread word about awareness. That kind of helps the students know about what's going on and how to take part in the action to prevent gun violence.
Okay, perfect. Let me ask you all this. Other ways that we could prevent gun violence in the community, but more so, what are some effective violence prevention programs that you see in your schools today? Kalia, go ahead. And then Alexa.
Well, as we know, we have ThrYve, but there is also PBIS, which stands for Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports. It's a proactive approach that teaches students appropriate behaviors and provides support to reduce disciplinary issues. And to add, we also have YVPP, Youth Violence Prevention Program. It's a program that focuses on educating students about their consequences of violence, and it provides conflict resolution skills with engaging activities like workshops and discussions about violence prevention.
I would say this program called KU Upper Bound is very, for me, I think it was very helpful because instead of, I didn't know what I was going to do like after high school, After high school, I thought I was just going to go find a job or something like that. But when I joined this my 10th grade year, it taught me a lot, and taught me a lot about colleges, and took me to a lot of tours to colleges that I thought that I wouldn't be able to see. Like, they took some kids to Africa, and they showed them a college in Africa. And I think this spring they took them to Miami, and they showed them a college in Miami. So I think it's like a good program because they don't just like stop you just after high school. They keep following you through college. And in college, some of the colleges have the same program that help you monitor your scholarships, your classes, and help you in tutoring and stuff.
I love that. Cortez, before I get to you, what I'm hearing from everybody so far that's spoken is things about just getting exposure to new things and opportunities and having a community of some sort. Cortez, what would you like to add?
We're going to move Cortez because he's going to be out of the line of sight.
Oh, okay.
You're not going to be able to see him. No, I can't see him. So, can you see him by everyone, or does he go by show? If he scoots down.
Okay, perfect. Okay. We made an adjustment. Well, we're working with it. So, yeah, we can go ahead and just add to Cortez. And then also to Shelby and Police Chief, if you all would like to add to that as well, feel free. I can just hand it over to whoever wants to go. Go ahead, Cortez.
And two other programs I know are Becoming a Man and Woman on the Move. Those are two that I know of.
Yeah, and all of these opportunities really provide like that community and exposure. It gives you skill sets and different things, educational opportunities. All of these outlets, I do believe they help us, at the end of the day, really make a better community. Would y'all like to add?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, those are some great programs. I'm so glad that you brought up Young Women on the Move, which also reminds me, I know some of your faces are familiar. How many of you participated in MOXA's social norms campaign creation. Seen you there. Okay. I think you were there. Yeah, I remember. Okay, so a few of you have been there. Programming like that is also violence prevention. They're working on changing the norms around violence. We've talked a lot about how people think that Wyandotte County is a violent place and that it's not connected, but that's not true. Our rates are falling, like Chief Oakman mentioned, and there are so many pockets of community of people who love and look out for each other. So, having campaigns like that can help change the way that people think about Wyandotte County. So I'm so glad that you brought up those. ThrYve's another great one. How many of you all are familiar with Enough is Enough? Yeah. Okay. So Enough is Enough is also a gun violence prevention program within KCKPS within USD 500. So that's also a great program. There are a couple of other things that I jotted down that I just wanted to maybe empower you all to think about yourselves. You all are leaders in your school. You're leaders in this community. And not only can you lead in school or with your peers, by the things that you say and the programs that you do, but also modeling those healthy choices. Someone earlier mentioned how parents need to model those choices. You all also do for your peers. And then the last thing that I jotted down is to use your voice. You all are constituents. Well, you will be voting constituents here shortly in the next couple of years, but you are represented at a city, county, state, and federal level. And your voice matters, your opinions matter, and you all can advocate for that change that you want at any time. They have to listen to you. You're kind of their boss. So I just wanted to make sure that you all know that you're leaders and that you have a very strong voice.
Thank you. Cortez, we're gonna let Michaela answer this question. Let me ask you, if you were in charge, what solutions would you propose to address youth violence? And thank you, Shelby. Those are incredible advice, and I hope you all were listening.
I think it's more gun regulations, because anyone could go and buy a gun, anyone can resell a gun and just buy it off of them. But I also feel like it's schools who don't really inform students about gun violence. They do here and there, but it's not really something that's common that you see in a school. And mostly on social media too, going back to that, a lot of kids make it a trend, which is I want to go be a part of that, but it's what do you get from that?
Thank you. Yes.
Me and Evelyn wanted to talk about our solution that we did in our group.
Yeah, change level.
Yeah. So one of our solutions that we decided to do was a talent show and an art show, because a lot of people feel at peace when they draw. For example, we have a friend named Juan. I know him for many years, and ever since I met him, we got into a lot of trouble and stuff. But then he started to draw and started to get involved with this program, and it got him out of a lot of trouble.
In the summer of 2024, Juan made a drawing basically describing that there wasn't a lot of young people in the class because of gun violence.
And this drawing got very, very noticeable, because we were just kids trying to finish our work, trying to do what we were told at ThrYve, and then we brought it to them, and they felt a really big connection to that, because it's true. A lot of the people that we used to know in our classrooms and stuff are not in there no more because of their neighborhoods and stuff like that. And now we see less kids in classrooms, less people and it's really hurtful, because we want to see our peers grow with us and be big, but at this rate of time, there's not really a way to get there unless we do it. Yeah.
Thank you. Also, too, just so everyone knows, our Change Lever project, so is a project that our students work on throughout the whole year in ThrYve, and that project is something that they present at the Youth Violence Prevention Week picnic kickoff that we have. We did that this past Saturday here in 2025 for Youth Violence Prevention Week to kick off Youth Violence Prevention Week. I said that a lot. But yeah, hey, I want to get everybody's voices, but I wanted to see if Police Chief Oakman wanted to add anything in terms of solutions, because I think you may know some good things for us to do. And then after that, we could probably have final thoughts from the students, and also too from our Shelby, your police chief as well.
All right. I think I've heard some great things. We do have some things that we do at the police department, as Joshua mentioned, our Police Athletic League, a ton of programs, and one in particular. In fact, I got to go to Maryland and present to the governor of Maryland our driver's ed program, which is top-notch, only one in the country that's taught by police officers free of charge, and you get a driver's license. So anyone in here that needs to know how to drive the right way, let us know, and we can get you signed up through Police Athletic League. Now, we do ask how you pay for it is 30 hours of community service, so nothing's free. But what I want to say, we got a lot of things. You can go to our website, but I want to challenge everyone in this room, especially the young people, and I'm saying it now, and Dr. Thompson, I'm saying it now, Dr. Watson, to work with me to develop one of the first gun safety and awareness classes that's geared towards elementary school to high school. And I think that would be a start, because there's a lot of things we talk about, but I think we can do our part and we can develop it. And I think we need to really let everyone know the particulars about guns instead of always hiding from them and letting our buddy tell us about guns, which is a no-no. So I just challenge everyone to accept that challenge.
You all accept the challenge?
Oh, yeah. All right. Josh, you want to send us home?
Yeah, I want to Chief Oakman. Yeah. I would like to add on to what he said about PAL, the gun safety classes. I know you guys have a summer program, and I attended the last 2 summers. And through that, I got to meet some new people, and also got to connect with some police officer like Joe and his dog. I like his dog. Haley. Yeah, Haley. But the program, they took us to a range, and they also showed us how they shoot the gun. They also showed us how people with that are driving under the influence, how they see and why it's important to regulate also not just gun violence but also drug abuse. I feel like that's also a very big problem in the communities, not just gun violence. But I feel like that was a really cool experience. I feel like anybody who's still able to go should go. Like, I know freshmen can go this summer, or 8th graders, they can go this summer. I can't no more, but I wish I could, but I can't.
And that program, we want to expand it because it just does the safety part, but we want to do the whole violent part attached to it. So
also,
a complete class.
Also, the community service for the driver's ed, I did that, but I also want to say that it may seem like a lot of work, but honestly, it's very fun. You get put to work, but it's fun because you're doing it for yourself, and also you're also helping around people, and it's a good feeling to help people. That's all I want to say.
Well, we want to go ahead and thank you all for being a part of this. I just want to end it by just saying that you are actually a part of a solution. Just being a part of this podcast and voicing your opinions does enormous amount of impact in our community. It's incredible feedback for other community partners and leaders to look at and really listen to, because it's voices that not every day we get to hear, but they're voices that really, your voices that are incredibly impactful. Shelby said it earlier. One day you guys are going to be voters, and you guys will have an incredible responsibility to lead this community. So I want to thank you all for sharing and being vulnerable and just being honest about what's going on in the community. And I know it sounds like fluff and bluff, but you guys are really doing a huge thing by being a part of this podcast. We also want to thank Shelby from the health department, and we also want to thank Police Chief Oakman and for just being here and taking your time. And with that being said, I thank everybody for who's listening, and we are calling this an end of the show. Yeah.